In this tutorial, we are going to create this zipper pull. You can download the demo file in the download section of our site. I'm going to go through this video pretty quickly, so if you have questions on how to use specific tools, I would suggest revisiting some of our previous videos. So what I've done for you here is I've ungrouped this final zipper pull and I've dissected all of the pieces and laid them out for you here on the left of your page. So what I'm going to do is just recreate each one of these different shapes and to show you how all of them put together will create your final zipper pull. First thing I'm going to do is use my pen tool to create this first shape here, just drawing half of it using my copy with the selection and the alt tool to make a copy of that, and then I'm going to use the reflect tool to reflect it. And now I need to join the top anchor here and join the bottom anchor here. I can right click and access my join, or I can also go ahead and use that key command. Now let's move over the first shape that I've created here to step number 2, where I'm going to make a copy of that same shape by going to Object, Path, and then Offset Path. And now instead of having a positive number here, I want to insert a negative number, and I can hit Preview to see what that's going to look like. And then hit OK. I have that same shape here now on the inside. The next thing I'm going to do is use my rounded rectangle tool to begin to draw out the inside of this pull tab here, and use the live corners to adjust the top here to make it a square on top and rounded on the bottom. I can also use the live corners to round out the bottom exactly so it matches beneath. Now let me go ahead and grab my pen tool and trace around half of the outside shape here and half of this inside shape here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my selection tool, make a copy of both of these, right click transform and then reflect. I can hit preview to make sure it's what I want and then press OK. Now we have to make sure we join all these open anchor points here by using our direct select tool, selecting them and right clicking or using the command J function. Now I'm going to make a copy of all of this and move it over here to our next step. And I'm going to go ahead and use our eyedropper tool to give this shape a fill color so we can see what's going to happen. Once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and grab my shape builder tool. And while everything is still selected, I'm going to hold down my Alt key and hover over these insides areas here where I want to punch out these particular shapes to create a compound path. For the next shape, I'm going to take this inside bottom piece here from the last shape that we drew and isolate that, and then let me just move it up here so you can see what it looks like, and then I'm going to raise the stroke weight on this so that it is a little bit thicker and matches what I have here beneath. Let's move this over for the next step, which is going to be to outline this stroke into a full shape. So I'm going to go to Object, Path, and then Outline Stroke, and that will convert that from a stroke into a shape. And then I can go ahead here and use my eyedropper tool to get that gray color. Now let's start off again with my pen tool to create this new shape here. I'm going to draw half of it and then reflect the other half, making a copy of that, bringing it over here to the right, joining the top and bottom anchors. The next step here, I'm going to use my rounded rectangle tool to draw this out. I can hold down the Option key to draw that from the center. I can use my live corners if I need to adjust the corners. I can use my eyedropper tool here and then my opacity to reduce that. I want to have this be slightly transparent. Using my rounded rectangle again to create the next shape, using my eyedropper tool to get the color, and then last here I'm going to use my pen tool to draw this last little line segment, and going over to my stroke palette, selecting the rounded cap, and then also changing the color with my eyedropper tool. Now let's move all the shapes that we've created up here to the top of my artboard. I'm just roughly moving them into place. Anywhere really doesn't matter, just so that they're all near each other. Then I can select everything here that I've drawn, and I'm going to use my horizontal align center function to make sure everything is aligned properly. I'm going to go ahead now with my selection tool to move over this little highlight here so that it is not perfectly aligned, as well as moving over this little shadow part here. I'm going to move it down and to the left. I'm going to right click arrange send to back for this little shadow piece here and then move it over slightly so it is also not centered. And here we have our final zipper pull.